Looking forward to this. Thank you for being back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. First, fellas, I just wanted to congratulate you on the third day. We finally made it, everyone in one piece. And I wanted to really thank Cito and his team at Cosmoverse, who has created this awesome environment. This is my first Cosmoverse. I was watching all Cosmoverses online because I was busy shipping code in my cave. And yeah, it has been wonderful to know that we all gather to, talk about where we go next with Cosmos Stack, where we go as a community. And today I really want to talk about one of the points that, is kind of like an elephant in the room lately, and I want to address it in a very candid manner. A little bit about myself. I'm Viet, head of developer relations at Celestia Labs, and I'm also one of the founding engineers since August 2021. And I'm kind of like an iPhone when I introduce myself to the people. I'm designed by Vietnamese, but assembled in Ukraine. So you can think of me more of a product of globalization and love, backed by this insane international collaboration that creates things that last. So far, I have lasted for 31 years. And I truly believe we need to collaborate if we want to move forward as humanity. And today, we really need to touch the topic of sustainable economies. Otherwise, all we're creating will not last. And to bring you the first point, guys, that I have discovered when I was learning about this topic, we need to touch the topic of cost barriers. Because the financial and time costs for developers in Web3 are way too high. They're just way too high. Let it settle, and I'll repeat again, it's way, way, way too high. And the question is simple. What needs to change in order for the app chain adoption to explode? We all are here because we believe the app chain adoption is the only way forward if we want to see a thriving community and usage from end users. And if we compare today's Web 2 to Web 3 costs, it has never been easier, faster, and cheaper to launch a SaaS than launch a chain. And that is horrendously bad. Because in Web 2, you can literally use Prisma, Vercel, Stripe, a few APIs, and in less than a day, you are paying less than a cappuccino to have your app working. And why we cannot have this in Web 3? Why in Web 2 we have such a interesting phenomenon called Peter Levels, who is creating startup every month or week, and you have a whole movement called Build in Public that, of course, is going through their own dramas, but the results are visible through screenshots of MRRs and ARRs of changing people's lives. We don't have such stories in big prevalence in Web 3. Because in Web 3, what we have is the replication problem. I don't understand why in Web 3 we need to still think in 2000s eras where everything is so expensive and slow that you need to literally have a Le Jose education and a sovereign wealth fund to just pull it off. It's just impossible to think in today's world. And to make it super bad, we are, comparing to Web 2, not innovating. We are literally sending ourselves to irrelevance if we continue such practices going forward. Because it's not the big players who do the changes, it's the small players who start really fast, iterate, and go win the game. You can look at Hyperliquid. That's the beautiful Cinderella story we're all looking up to as we're moving forward. And the bad thing is that the upfront costs cost hundreds of thousands of dollars before you even see your first block. As Celestia, myself, who started all this, we were literally cooking for 2.5 years, coordinating with everyone to even see our first block on 31st of August, 2023. This should not be the same going forward, because this is not innovation. This is coordination, friction. And to give you guys an understanding why this is very bad, we all are stumbled on the same problems of RPCs, explorers, bridges, that takes weeks, if not months, of BD work to even start things off. This is bad. This is not permissionless. And if we do like this going forward, this is not just a vibe problem, it's a death sentence to our relevancy, which means that we will lose the mindshare battle between all the developers in the world going forward. And if you wonder, the meme of why devs are not doing something, I just want you to remember that they're fighting with the system that we've built. And they are not bringing value to everyone else. And to give you, some context, I have my own lesson that I learned the hard way. That's why I'm head of developer relations, I guess. Back in 2024, I helped a team win a hackathon, and the idea was pretty simple. Hey, let's make verifiable events tickets. Because we learned that a lot of artists, especially indie, they want really direct connections with their fans through gamified tier systems. And we knew that in order to fulfill one of the promises, we needed an app chain. And you guessed it right, 4 months later, we're still in onboarding purgatory. Nothing is done. It's all bad. And a lot of operators that I talked to myself ghosted us because they didn't know who we are. And one of the teams asked us for $40,000 just to start talking, 3 months waiting list. And yeah, you need to lock in. You have to have vendor lock-in for 12 months. If you tell me that is innovation, I would say that is not innovation. That is a message that you need to do it in Web 2 using SaaS. And this is the first thing we need to admit, guys. We need to admit that this is a problem. This is not hand-wavy. This is not going away with enterprises. This is literally the problem of everyone who's watching the stream, or even, today in this room, that if we don't treat this and we don't admit it, that's the problem. And we need to take it seriously. And this is where to give you guys an understanding why I joined Celestia in 21, I knew that with this technology, we can make abundance of security budgets for each developer through one API call. Before, it was coordination, figuring out with people, are they good, are they bad? With Celestia, we're literally saying, hey guys, one API call, you're good. Just go do something else. And you can launch a bunch of chains without vendor lock-in. You want Evolve, you want Cosmos SDK, you want OP-Stack, Nitro, you name it. It's all in your hands. You can do it on your own. And if you really worry about decentralization and you want to start spreading out in order to have resilience, you can still add validators later. It does not need to have all of the properties since the get-go. And now you see with perp decks and clubs and dexes, people are literally doing that, but the budget to pull it off is still way too high. And at Celestia, you will ask me, Viet, okay, you created this, guys. Why not a lot of actions are coming up? I think you guessed it. RPCs, explorers, bridges, paymasters, indexing, so many things are stuck between launching on production and staying in DevNet. And the DA is one of the pieces that will solve, but it's not everything. So you know that lowering the cost to start is not enough. Lowering the cost to stay is the question that we need to address in good manners together. And the second thing that I learned after going through all this journey is validators here would run software for devs, but they don't know how to do it. And when they want to do it, they are addressed with NDAs, SLAs, and back and forth of months of BD work. That's really bad. And we have solved this before. If you remember the proof of work days, miners were basically incentivized to use the best engineering software and doing revenue share because they knew they were more efficient than ever before. And in proof of stake, we all learned that with only MEV, we can do this again. So I want to give you with a message, let's think broadly more of just block production, but more in a service-based style, where we need to collaborate as devs and validators to pull off the economy that is sustainable. Because we, devs and validators, if you look at the data and you talk today with everyone in the room, this is SMEs. This is small, medium-sized enterprises. This is not an enterprise sales pitch where you need to sit in days of calls. You literally just need to talk together, figure out the deal, and close it. And guess what? We all love repeatable, verifiable, fast deals. This is how SMEs thrive and move forward. The problem, again, is we need conviction. And this is where the problems begin with months of BD work. And I guess even in 2021, we had the same problems where we were picking which validators will come, to the first set or not the first set when we were selecting, the list for the mainnet. This is not bad. This is not good. And you would tell me, Viet, well, you have the developer tooling. Why we don't have it? Why we're talking about this? Why we can't do it right now? And I can give you guys that the tooling is still not there yet. We are In a stage where good tooling is closed-sourced, open source tooling is half abandoned, and they're not even cooked to a stage that people can trust it. And this creates friction of uncertainty, manual checkups, and people just don't want to use it, or they just straight ahead say that we don't want to support X due to A and B. But I want today to leave you guys with understanding that this might be our opportunity, that we need to work together, RevShare, to solve this and actually bring back the good economies, through collaboration that can be verified. Again, the deals. And even today, in roll-ups, model, etc., you already see the good practice that people do through RevShare on sequencing. Again, it's all block production. We need to do something else in order to sustain it, because only the big teams or very good VC-funded teams can afford to run any chains today. And while tooling still lags, we have the pieces. This is the great insight I learned, is that not everything is lost. It's all about collaborating and shipping what truly matters to move the needle. And now, for the long game, I really want you guys to start thinking in broader models of thinking like AWS. They have 240 core services and 30,000 integrations. This is why they're the kingmaker. This is why a lot of people use them. It's just so convenient. And I think we can pull this off because we have one of the best validators communities in the world. We have a single implementation called the data availability to be solved, which took years of research from both EF and Celestia to pull this off. And most importantly, we still have a chance because we have 29 million developers who don't know about our technology, or they don't have the time to learn it, with the gaps that we have today. Just to give you guys some numbers, according to Electric Capital, this year we have only 20,000 devs. That is a drop in the ocean. And we can change that through good sustainable economics without outsourcing everything to centralized cloud providers. Because, again, we have the pieces to make it work. And you can think that the road might be long and then compounding is invisible, but I just want to remind you guys that if we do it right and it clicks, everyone will call it an overnight success. And this is literally what happens every single time you innovate. You need to stick it for the long game. You need to talk to people and ship until everyone gets it. Otherwise, this will not work. And I just wanted to bring, a good set of questions for you to have any conversations going forward. Is that how a developer team can connect directly to the validator without having BD work, how a validator team can serve immediately all the workloads that developers want without, going through background checks of NDAs and BD and SLA services, and what actually we can ship today to make it work. If we have tough conversations, we will actually create an economy because we have social coordination consensus instead of just talking about debugging latest releases and just chilling in Discord waiting for dev to do something. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. I hope it was insightful.